Well, let's hold our questions till the end, folks. I've got a lot of ground to cover. I realize this is upsetting. I realize that some of you have family members who belong to this organization. I realize that some of you are hearing this for the first time and don't really understand what the hell it is you're hearing. But please be patient. The Council on Foreign Relations Handbook of 1936 provides the following details concerning the organization's establishment by Freemasons on May the 30th, 1919. Several leading members of the delegations to the Paris Peace Conference met at the Hotel Majestic, and that's where Operation Majestic 12 comes from, the deception that is trying to convince you that aliens are here, in Paris to discuss setting up an international group which would advise their respective governments on international affairs. The U.S. was represented by General Tasker H. Bliss, Chief of Staff, United States Army, Colonel Edward M. House, Whitney H. Shepardson, Dr. James T. Shotwell, and Professor Archibald Coolidge. Great Britain was unofficially represented by Lord Robert Cecil, Lionel Curtis, Lord Eustace Percy, and Harold Timberley. It was decided at this meeting to call the proposed organization the Institute of International Affairs. Percy eventually became Pierce in the United States. George Bush is a member of that family, as is his wife. At a meeting on June 5th, 1919, the planners decided it would be best to have separate organizations cooperating with each other. Consequently, they organized the Council on Foreign Relations with headquarters in New York and a sister organization, the Royal Institute of International Affairs in London, also known as the Chatham House Study Group. To advise the British government, a subsidiary organization, the Institute of Pacific Relations, was set up to deal exclusively with Far Eastern affairs. Other organizations were set up in Paris and Hamburg, the Hamburg branch being called the Institute for Osirian Politique, and the Paris branch being known as the Centre d'études de politique étrangère. I'm not good at French, so I hope you understand. Baron Edmond de Rothschild of France dominated the Paris Peace Conference, and each of the founders of the Royal Institute ended up being men who met Rothschild's approval. The same was true of the Council on Foreign Relations, which was not officially formed until 29th July 1921. Money came from J.P. Morgan, Bernard Baruch, Otto Kahn, Jacob Schiff, Paul Warburg, and John D. Rockefeller, amongst others. And this was the same crowd involved in the forming of the Federal Reserve. The Council's original board of directors included Isaiah Bowman, Archibald Coolidge, John W. Davis, Norman H. Davis, Stephen Dugan, Otto Kahn, William Shepard, Whitney Shepardson, and Paul Warburg. And the center of power was with the Knights of the Golden Circle in Cincinnati. I do most of my research, ladies and gentlemen, through genealogy, because I have found that they pass their membership in these organizations down from father to son, and they intermarry to keep the power within great families. This is called an oligarchy. Now, one of the great initiation rites of Freemasonry is the story of Hiram Abiff. And the story goes that the master mason in building the Temple of Solomon, which is all allegory, it doesn't mean anything about the real Temple of Solomon. They deal in symbols. The Temple of Solomon is the temple of the sun. The knights of the temple are the temple builders. The temple is the body of man, which they strive to make perfect. And when man has reached the perfect state, he will be known by the number 666. That's what all this New Age gobbledygook is all about. It took me years to discover this, and I thought I was never going to do it. And I finally did. It made me so happy. Hiram Abiff, the master mason of the temple, was killed by 3 It symbolizes the oppression of the order, the religion of Baal, by the state, by the church, and by the mob. And they are sworn to avenge the death of Hiram Abiff by destroying the state, the church, and shackle the mob. Who do you suppose the mob is? It's you and I. They want to enslave us forever. And if we're not very careful, they are going to do it. You hear all this talk of Isis and Osiris and the Earth Mother. And nobody really knows what that means. Also, some people profess that they do. And when you think that you do, you are holding with your teeth to the butt of the exoteric joke. I'm going to give you the true meaning now. The fable of Isis and Osiris, as it has descended to us in the account given by Plutarch, has not been greatly amplified by modern research. The Egyptian fragments which have been translated in recent years offer no complete account of the birth, life, death, and resurrection of Osiris, who was really who. I'm going to give you the account of the rule and death of Nimrod. Because Nimrod was Osiris. Nimrod was the first priest in the cult of the worship of Baal. The story of the life and death of Osiris is the story of the life and death of Nimrod, who represented their god, Lucifer. The ancient Babylonians, Nimrod was the light, the chief priest. He was the one who created the religion in the first place, built the city. He taught the men how to make war, go kill animals. According to legend, his wife taught the women how to plant and harvest crops. This is what is meant by the gift of intellect, knowledge to man. Does everybody follow me, I hope? If you get lost in this, heaven help us all, because it's complicated. Anyway, I'm going to go over it quickly. Osiris was a great king in legend. Everybody thinks this is Egyptian, but it's Babylonian. He was a great king. He taught the men how to hunt, how to build walled cities to protect themselves from enemies and from wild beasts. His wife, Isis, in the old religion, was Astarte, taught the women how to sew and reap the harvest. The people loved Osiris, but he had a jealous brother, Hiram, also known as Set, who conspired to kill Osiris and did by building a coffin out of wood, and said that anyone, it was a beautiful box actually, it wasn't a coffin, it was beautiful, according to the legend, it was the most beautiful box ever built. According to the legend, at one dinner party one night, Hiram set this box in the middle of this road in the room and said, anyone who can lie perfectly and fit in this box perfectly can have it. Everyone tried, but he had built it to the exact length or height of Osiris. Osiris laid the box and fit. Quickly, he and his henchmen grabbed the top of the box, put it on, nailed it down, and poured molten lead around the seams. They then took it out and buried it under a tree. This morning, you heard about the forest when we used to small. It's the same story. That's why the tree, the forest, is so important to these people. Osiris, coming home, not finding her husband and brother, set out to find him. She found him, brought him back to the castle, and by magic was trying to bring him back to life. When Titan found out that she found the coffin, they snatched the body, chopped it into 14 pieces, and scattered it over the land. Isis, in a fit of rage, flew out to find the pieces. She found all save one. She found all the pieces except for the penis of Osiris, which is also known as the lost word of Freemasonry, or the generative force, the G in the middle of the star, denoting generation. And so, she made a substitute. Some stories say out of wood, some say out of gold. But the religion in their altars always had a gold penis, which in later years became an obelisk. The obelisk is the penis of Osiris.